Hey everybody, this is Sin,
And this is Nick.
and this is This Week in Cars. So I'm excited about today's episode. There's so much news that came out in the last week. We've been talking about the Civic Type R forever, and they just released the final images for it. They did a video, but we don't know the power yet. There's just so much going on. So Nick, run us down what we're going to talk about real quick, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, so first we're going to talk about the Civic Type R because we can't get away from it.
Yeah.
They just launching right now as we are talking about this. So that's pretty cool. Excited about that. Then the new F-150 Raptor R. Excited to talk about that one too. And then the Hyundai N Vision 74. Is that right? Is that what it's called?
N74. 74 because there's a reason for that, but we'll get into it.
Okay. Then the Toyota Crown, which is the new sedan type car that Toyota is coming out with, and then finally the Blazer EV. I'm really excited to talk about that one too. So, 5 topics tonight.
Yeah, so we're basically just gonna run through the news this episode just to keep it not 2 hours long. So we're gonna get into the first topic, which is Civic Type R. So it looks exactly like the rendering that we showed off in the previous episode. And there's really, the thing that's interesting about it is they did all the hoopla. We know what it looks like officially now, but we don't know how much, and we don't know how much power yet. So
yeah,
all they said was it's going to be more powerful.
Yeah, a little bit over the 309 or 305 or 306. What was it from previous? Either way,
307. It's 310 overseas. I don't know. Yeah, I should know because I'm going to buy this car, but.
But now that it's revealed,
306. Sorry.
Now that it's revealed, it looks better than I think the the renderings, even the ones.
Well, now because you see video, people walked around it, so you have your mind has a better grasp of the actual proportions, and you get to see all the details, like the vents, the taillights, the wing, how it all comes together.
I think I'm the most surprised by the vents. I knew that they would probably do something like that, but right now it looks like there's a hood vent, the side vents behind the wheel wells. So probably get rid of some hot air from the brakes.
And aerodynamic stuff. There's they got rid of the big fake vents from the FK8 in the rear bumper, and now you have these really subtle vents coming out the side of the back. And the air, it's just super clean, handsome, grown up design.
Awesome.
Gosh,
in my opinion, way better than the previous generation. I thought the previous generation was very insect-like, in its appearance. Obviously, it's a great car. No, you should get this car. This car looks awesome. MSRP. If I get it for MSRP, I am trading my car in for it 100%. It's so crazy. I contacted the dealership the other day. It was trying to it's just live chat with this girl. She was like, and I was like, no, you guys don't have it in stock, and I want to put my name on a list. You need to talk to an actual salesperson, not somebody in the chat.
It's so crazy that people that are trying to sell you a car online are just so in the dark about what's coming out.
Because you have to think about it. Because 99% of the people, probably more than that, go in to buy a normal standard run-of-the-mill car that's not going to be limited edition. It doesn't have crazy markup,
Yeah, and she just was trying to get all this information about the car that I'm trading in, and then trying to I was like, dude, the car's not out yet. I just want to be on a list, and this is the car that I'll be trading anyways. So that basically covers it for the Civic Type R. It's out. You can go watch videos on it. We'll have a video playing here, but no details yet, and probably by the time this video is released, we'll have details on the motor, and so on and so forth. It'll be probably the exact same motor, just outputting just a little bit more power. So let's get into the next topic, which is also super exciting. The Hyundai.
No. Don't skip the Raptor R.
Okay. Sorry, you're leading on this.
One of my favorites.
Okay.
So basically, Ford announced a long time ago that they were going to do a V8 version of the F-150 Raptor. They didn't say directly to compete with the TRX, but we know that's the case. Hearing Ford talk about it in these press releases, it does sound like their fans finally got through to them. They said they missed the horsepower and the noise of the V8. So, but I was watching a video the other day on it. So basically, the truck is almost completely unchanged from the V6 version. Okay, and what they said, that the reason they did that is they knew when they were designing the Gen 3 Raptor that there was a good probability that they would put the V8 engine in it. So they designed the chassis, the suspension, everything about the truck was rigid enough to handle the excess power. So they just had to drop in they're dropping in the 5.2 liter supercharged V8. They call it the Predator engine from the GT500. It's detuned a little bit. I think it's right at 700, so it's still under that TRX numbers, but the saving grace of this truck is I think it's going to be 500 pounds lighter, somewhere around that 300 to 500 pounds lighter. So what gives it that weight advantage? Is the TRX? It's the aluminum chassis. It's I think it's all aluminum now.
I didn't know that the Dodge wasn't using aluminum. I know when Ford first started using aluminum in their beds and their structure, they were getting crap about it. You remember those commercials by Chevy talking about how easy the bed dents?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, go on.
No, so it's not super different from the regular V6. They got rid of the trombone exhaust, which I don't know if you've heard the new V6 exhaust, the 2021, I think it finally updated, but they again heard complaints from their customer base that they didn't like the sound of the V6, and it sounded like shit. All the previous models just did not sound good, and it's because it had an unequal length exhaust. So Ford fixed that by putting an actual loop in there. You can see it under the chassis, and then that made it an equal length exhaust, and now it sounds like, no joke, it sounds very GTR-esque. It's got a similar twin turbo V6. It sounds awesome. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
but I'm very familiar with the GTR sound, and of course that varies. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people think it sounds like a vacuum. I'm on the fence.
It's got that wail,
Yeah.
Very, what do they call it? What are the GTR people? It's the same as the VQ engines. They're very trombone-y.
I mean, the VQ engines sound amazing, and unfortunately, you hear it all the time because there's so many kids with like 350Zs just zooming around
all over my town.
Yeah, it sounds great, but it gets annoying.
Not at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
when you have a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, not a whole lot different. It's coming factory with 37s, and which I think they look awesome.
Yeah, those meaty tires.
So 700 horsepower, but here's the kicker. Do you want to take a guess on the MSRP? Take a guess.
107.
It's 109, which it's
close.
Freaking crazy because you can get a pretty macked out Raptor for I think 60. Obviously they go higher than that, but this is a true premium.
I figured that much because the GT500 is that much, so they can't undercut the GT500.
You think that's really what it is?
Yeah, it's the same
basically
motor.
Saying you can't get this motor for anything less than that.
Yeah,
which, man, that even the GT500, that's up there. But
that's what I'm saying. So like they can't undercut the price of the GT500. so it has to be around that price.
Makes
That's
sense,
just part of it's part of the the
pricing and marketing.
Yeah, it's just what you pay to get that motor. And the thing is, like, they know that people are going to pay for it because
it's going to be limited
people
edition.
Are paying way over MSRP for the GT500.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be limited edition. They're all going to be scooped up, just like the TRX. They're going to have no problem selling them. So
they said no price markups. Is that what they said?
I told you. I think. Let's hope they do the direct to consumer route like they did the Maverick. So that, and you can see it if you look online. The people that bought and got their Mavericks, a lot of them immediately listed them on Facebook or Craigslist for way over MSRP. You were getting, you can see $25,000 MSRP Mavericks on there for 35, 40 grand, and I don't know if anybody's buying them because I mean it's a hell of a value. The Maverick is.
It's a lot of a value, but yeah, it doesn't have the same. What's the word? You gotta have it as like the Bronco or the Jeep. It's a different type of class. It's a working type of vehicle.
Yeah. I think it's all about value. It's a great car for a great price. But anyway, let's hope they do something like what they did with the Maverick, where it's direct to consumer. You can order it and get it delivered to your door because you're going to build it anyway. Most people, you would think.
Yeah.
You know, being limited production. But so far we don't have a whole lot of information on it. But right now that's basically it. Like I said, I watched a video that said Ford exec was like, there's really not much change from the V6. And he tried to make it eloquent and be like, no, there's some subtle changes, but there's really not. So they just dropped a big V8 in a Raptor, which I don't think.
And it costs that much more. So, I mean, because it's limited edition, they're going to sell all of it. People who want that motor, people who want the top version, they're going to get it. They're going to sell it. Is it worth that much more over the standard Raptor? That's up to whoever's buying it. Personally, would you, if you had the money, would you spring for that over the regular Raptor?
No, I think the regular Raptor is freaking badass, especially with the new one with the exhaust. Like, it's not a V8, but it sounds pretty damn good. And it's like, it's the best looking truck on the planet.
My neighbor's got one, so I hear it all the time.
It's better looking than the TRX. Even though the TRX is super badass, I'm just saying from a pure aesthetics look, the Raptor's better. They have better wheels. And I think, again,
they have so many Raptor options now. It's kind of, I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
What do you mean?
The Ranger Raptor looks appealing.
Oh, but that's not coming out yet. I think might be later.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's just soon they're gonna have. It used to be just the F-150 Raptor, right? So now they're gonna have
the Bronco Raptor,
three different Raptor cars.
Ranger Raptor. Probably won't get a Maverick Raptor just because I think they're gonna do an ST version of the Maverick, like a street version. I've seen some renderings. They look sweet, but anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, moving on. All right, so the
Hyundai N. You're going to take the lead on this because you're geeking out about it.
All right, so the Hyundai N74, I guess, sports car concept.
74.
Say that again?
N Vision
74. So we joked about Hyundai and N and how N was basically, it came out because Al Bierman, the guy that was the head of BMW M, basically took over to create something special at Hyundai as far as like a high performance line. And so they picked the letter that comes after M, N. And so that's why, we don't know for sure, but we were just joking about how N follows M. So that's why they named their performance division N. And up until this concept, people have been taking them a little bit more seriously.
Dude, all the N cars minus the Kona N are legit. But Elantra N, dude, great value. You get a ton of power. It's not all-wheel drive, but a lot of them are I mean, it's probably the best value out there. And people said they have awesome suspension, great handling.
As good as Hyundai is, it's still kind of like considered.
It's still a Hyundai.
Performance value. And Hyundai is a great brand now, but they still don't have the pedigree or heritage that other brands or other marks have. So
I don't think their quality's still. I think they're still learning and refining everything. The last 2 Hyundais I've driven were hot garbage. An older Elantra, could not see anything out of it. It was like driving a tuna can.
Then they're still even the new cars have some reliability issues, so they're still figuring things out. They're way better built than they were before, but yeah. Anyways,
but when you compare, I think when you compare them to like someone like Kia, a perfect example. I think Kia is a little like about 5 years ahead of them as far as quality.
Yeah. So I mean.
But let's talk about the N Vision. Vision.
Yeah. So this particular vehicle, and we're very conflicted about it. So I think it looks great. I think it's one of the best looking retro-inspired concepts to ever, and I hope that they build it. So the specs are, I think it was at 580 horsepower. Correct me if I'm wrong. I sent you the specs on it. But it is a hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle. So it will have, and this is the weird thing, it will have an internal combustion car engine, but it's a hydrogen internal combustion engine. So the beauty of a hydrogen motor is it takes in hydrogen fuel, and what comes out is water. So it's extremely clean. And they do have hydrogen cars on the road now, but basically the only place that you could drive a hydrogen car is like Japan and California, because those are the only places that have hydrogen fueling stations. So the other thing is, this is probably going to be really expensive, and by having hydrogen motors they haven't made a fast hydrogen car. So the fact that this is a hydrogen sports car, it's probably going to be super expensive, super limited. They quoted the 0 to 60 around like it's going to be under 4 seconds. That's their target.
It's going to be fast with a max speed of like,
it will be fast. It's not going to be like, modern supercar fast. So if we're going off of just stats, it's not going to be something that's going to contend with any supercar over $100,000.
I think this is never going to see the light of day, because it sounds like everything that they're talking about is completely track focused. It's rear wheel drive. It's not all wheel drive, which to me says it's not going to be an everyday, because I feel like any car nowadays that's going to launch, like, look at the success of xDrive. Like almost every BMW you see now is xDrive, even the freaking M cars, because everybody wants all wheel drive for the hard launches, all this stuff. But they also talk about on their website all about the cooling efficiency and being track capable. And it has this massive track wing. So I think if it does get commercialized,
that's what will help it justify a higher price tag too. But I mean, not having an all-wheel drive is not a bad thing, especially if it's a track-focused vehicle.
No, you're gonna have a great driver's car, but just seems they're not going hypercar, they're not going supercar, they're going between that sports car and supercar. It seems like with this.
So I think it looks cool.
It looks awesome.
The designer, the original, so the whole idea behind it is Hyundai was going to launch a sports car in 1974, and it looks like the DeLorean because it's the same designer that designed their pony sport car concept that never came to production in 74. A lot of it was because Hyundai didn't know what they were doing at that point. They didn't even have an engine for that sports car concept, but it was just something that was scrapped before it even made it to production, and now they have the resources. They came out with this concept, and everybody is fawning over it. So I hope it does make it to production, just because I'm all about these types of vehicles making it to production. I know the performance, it'll be a great track car, but street performance compared to other sports cars, it's probably not going to be there. And I've never heard of a good sounding hydrogen car, so I've never heard of any hydrogen car. So that's the other
they
thing.
sound the same as a gas engine.
Yeah,
they can. So to me, that'd be a great bridge between, instead of going all electric, keep it around, keep something more efficient, less polluting. The only thing about hydrogen right now is it takes more energy to input to make it than it is worth it to get out of it. But it could be, I think we've touched on this before, it could be a great way for any overcapacity of standard electric generating means, like any sort of power plant or any sort of windmill or solar. When they have that extra peak energy, they can actually use it to convert and make hydrogen, and then that is a forever store, right?
Yeah. So in Japan, when they started releasing hydrogen cars, this was something that, Toyota and Honda have been developing hydrogen vehicles for, it seems like 20 years now, 20 plus years. So a lot of the manufacturers,
it's never caught on.
Yeah, it just never caught on. A lot of it was people couldn't. They needed to make it sexy to get mass appeal. That's what Tesla did with EVs. They made it sexy. So it always, in order to be sexy, you have to make it sporty, and then that's how things catch on. So a lot of brands now are kind of using that Tesla model to launch vehicles now, because it works. But in Japan, when they released these hydrogen vehicles, they didn't really have the infrastructure. So what they did was they had hydrogen stations that you could actually build in your home, and I think it was like $10,000 to $20,000. But shit, that 10 to 20 grand, this is what it did. I think it was like $10,000 at the time, I'm pretty sure. But what it did was it heated your home, it powered your home, and it fueled your car.
Now we're talking.
So now that $10,000 doesn't seem too bad, right? Because you could fuel your car, you could heat your home, and you could, I'm not sure if it also powered your home, but those were the perks of having a hydrogen station built into your home or built at your home. I'm not sure if that ever made it really out of concept phase in Japan. I know it was offered. I'm not sure if it became a thing or not, but yeah. So I'm all for it. I wish they can make it viable. I hope it catches on. I'm very skeptical when it comes to new things that don't have the sexiness or performance of like an EV car. And if you watch any of the previous episodes, Nick and I talk a lot about EVs, and we already talk about how our current infrastructure can't really handle EVs. Like right now, Texas and California, they have rolling blackouts, and they're asking people to charge their EVs at off-peak hours because of these rolling blackouts, because their infrastructure just simply can't handle EVs. So if everybody starts manufacturing EVs, and if they ban internal combustion cars, like California is planning to ban them in 2030, the infrastructure just can't handle it. Like there's no way that they can have. I mean, look at how packed a Costco gas station is. And I give that example because Costco gas stations are always packed. So, imagine people not going to gas stations and everybody charging their vehicles at home or at charging stations. Like There's just so many cars. So yeah. Moving on. Let's speed this up just because I like the pace that we're going.
Yes. So next up is the 2023 Toyota Crown. They just announced this. So if you haven't seen
Specs.
this car, it is a big sedan that looks like an SUV. To me, I don't know about you, but this gives me like X4, X6 vibes. Does it not?
So it does. It totally has that. I don't want to call it like crossover.
It is a crossover. That's what it is. 100%.
It is, but it's more of like.
It's less SUV than a crossover.
It's like a sport SUV coupe. You know.
Like I said, the X6.
Yeah, X6. Oh, that's what I meant. But like the X6, you know, everybody's making them now. You know who started it?
Mm.
One of the first SUVs to have that coupe profile. You want to guess?
Was it Honda?
Honda. The Acura ZDX.
ZDX. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Look it up real quick. It was it wasn't in production long. It basically only lasted a couple years, and then they axed it because it didn't sell well.
Oh, I do remember. I do remember that. That thing was hideous.
But this predated the X6, and I remember when the X6 came out, a bunch of people thought it was ugly. I thought it was beautiful.
I think they got the proportions right, and I wonder. I don't know if Toyota got the proportions completely correct, because it does have the characteristic of more of a car. It has more of a car shape, but it has the lift of an SUV. Not quite as high, obviously. But so this thing is going to sit, I think I read that it's going to sit about 4 inches taller than the Camry. And it is built on the same chassis as the Camry, the Venza, the Avalon.
Yeah,
RAV4,
that new. I forgot what the name
TNGA.
of that. Yeah, that new platform, which is amazing, by the way. It's one of the best platforms used right now in the automotive industry.
Hold on, it's still it's on the RAV4, the Sienna, and the Highlander, and all the previous ones I just mentioned.
Yeah,
like, that's crazy. They're getting their money's worth on that thing.
Yeah, well, that's how they build car platforms now. Is it's modular.
Yes.
So it just makes producing a car that much more cost efficient, just to create something that can be expanded to work for a whole line of vehicles. But yeah,
I think BMW is doing that a lot now too.
Yeah, they're doing that too.
Yeah,
with their
so anyway, they said that they're trying to this is going after a kind of a different crowd. So like the Gen X, older millennials, people. They know that people are moving away. They see all the stuff with like GM and Ford and how they're getting away from cars altogether. So they kind of wanted to be in that pack as well. They said that they're not going to do away with sedans altogether. Toyota isn't, but this is trying to lure some of those people to their brand. So,
well, the Camry is the best-selling sedan right now, and they still sell over 300,000 Camrys a year. So,
yeah, that the Camry is not going anywhere. But I think this is like, again, it's built on the Camry chassis, so it'd be a nice switch for somebody. Platform.
Yeah.
And hold on, what's cool is that it has a hybrid engine, so it's half gas, half electric right now. The highest spec will have. Do you want to take a guess? How much horsepower? It's all-wheel drive. That's their standard drivetrain.
400.
340.
340? That's not bad.
It's gonna be a big car. Like, this is gonna be a very big car. It's gonna be as long as a Highlander, which is
I would have guessed
big SUVs.
I was thinking it'd be 300 to 400, but I was reaching for
I
the
bet
sky there.
They don't have performance numbers, but I bet it'll get there in probably 6 seconds.
Yeah,
and do some decent. I mean, obviously they're gonna have governors on them, but no, I think it's a decent looking car. I think they did a pretty good job. It definitely leans, in my opinion, more towards the car rather than the SUV. But I think they gave it just enough SUV type, design cues to kind of pull it off.
I think it's decent.
Yeah, I've only heard positive things. People are like, it's decent looking.
Now here's the enthusiast side of the things. So in America, it doesn't matter because we've never gotten the Crown. But people who know the Crown in Japan, the Crown's always been like, it's a big deal. That's what the Toyota Crown was. What all the mafia guys and all the people of power.
Yeah, it was a big executive car.
It was, and it was rear-wheel drive, and it was just this, it. When you go there, you see it, you go, okay, that's the Crown. That makes sense. Always, big, massive grille, just had so much road presence. So this is a huge departure from what was the Crown, and they're using the same name, so it's almost getting that super backlash. And not quite the same, but
I think besides the name, I think it's pretty good.
Okay, all right. So that next topic. What's the next
topic? This is probably going to be my favorite one.
Okay.
Chevy has announced that in 2024 they're going to be launching a Blazer EV lineup.
Yes.
So it comes with, get this, a bunch of different powertrain options, a bunch of different modes, and then you can also get an SS model. So they're going to go pretty hard with this. So right now it's going to be riding on their new, they call it their Ultium platform, which I'm going to guess is going to be featured in a lot more EVs coming up in the coming years. But you can get it, and you'll be able to get it in front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and an all-wheel drive model. So the SS trim will be that all-wheel drive. And do you want to take a guess? You want to take a guess of how much horsepower this thing's got?
I remember sending you the link to it too. It's like 600 horsepower, 580 or something up there.
557 with 648 pounds-feet of torque.
Yeah, that's wild.
So that's just with the SS model.
This thing's gonna be a rocket.
It's gonna be an absolute rocket ship. And I honestly think so. Before I go any further, I want to say that I think what Chevy did to the Trailblazer and the Blazer, more so the Trailblazer.
You didn't like it.
Oh my God, it's an absolute abomination.
But you like this.
I love this. And I think that
it looks finally
great, man. Yeah. And I mean, I think the Blazer looks okay. The current Blazer. I think it looks okay. It's a little gimmicky, just like everything in Chevy's lineup that isn't the Corvette or the Tahoe, in my opinion. But I'm glad to see they're bringing the SS back in some way, even though it's an EV. But I mean, this thing's gonna be crazy. It's gonna have 247 miles worth of range, or up to 320 miles of range. And then the SS is going to be priced at around $66,000.
That's a really good price. So that undercuts the Model Y.
I was just going to say that. So compared to the Model Y, this thing has more horsepower. They haven't said 0 to 60 specs, but they said under 4 seconds. Model Y says 3.5. About the same amount of range. They say Model Y does 330. So similar weight, similar 0 to 60. I think it's going to be about the same price. They didn't say anything about top speed. But it's going to be a serious competitor. And I think this crushes the Model Y in looks. I think this is a fantastic looking car.
So,
and obviously the press photos are going to be the SS model, or I think they have an RS model too. But this thing looks mean. Like it's definitely got a stance. This one has like a wide body. It's got the sloping roof, the fast roof line.
They're totally gunning for Tesla, and even their CEO even put Tesla as their target. And Tesla
I saw something
is like,
that he said they can overcome him in like 5 years.
And I believe it too. So Tesla had the lead for so long, and they've already got knocked off by VW as far as number one in EV market share. So it's just, at this point, I feel like it's just the only way that Tesla can go is down because they've been at the top for so long.
The only thing they really have is
Chevy Super Cruise is great, by the way. But
yes, it is. They really are just king of the data. And I think I've heard that Elon has approached GM and all these big companies and be like, why don't you just buy our data?
Yeah, he wants to get into the licensing game, and that may be.
And that's smart because, because they're never. I don't think Chevy's ever going to catch up to them with, all that, the biofeedback stuff and just the feedback, the driving data that Tesla gets, and then they integrate these safety features. I just don't think, because it's eventually just a numbers game, and they've been in it for so long. They have all this data that they can still mine through for the next, God only knows how many years.
Yeah. So, this is my thing with Tesla right now, because I think everybody's been an investor in Tesla at some point. And they had their earnings reports today, and they barely made the mark. So everybody knows that Tesla quality is not there. Yep. They haven't released the Cybertruck yet, and they've announced that 3 years ago.
Yeah,
it seems for like forever.
I honestly think the quality thing is probably their biggest issue. I've seen those videos.
100%, the quality is the biggest issue. The other thing is, like, to get parts is like impossible. Like, try to do your own brakes. It's not like, you can't do it. You can't even get the brakes, the pads.
I never thought about that, but that might not be a huge issue because there's really not much to wear out on those cars. So there's not really anything much maintenance besides brakes, tires,
but
things like that.
We talk about quality and stuff like that. Like, think about trying to replace the door handle out of warranty or anything like that. It's just going to be very difficult because they just don't have that side managed well. Yep. But the other part is everybody's gunning for them, and the quality is going to be better from these older manufacturers that have been in the game for so long, and they've all seemed, they're producing really good EVs now, and every new EV that comes out is even better and better and better. And
I think these bigger companies can iterate faster.
That and how
they have
long
the
has
infrastructure to do so.
Like, the Model S has been out for 10 years now. Well, they've done subtle updates to the body, but it hasn't been a complete redesign. So are they gonna? It still looks great.
One of the best looking cars on the planet.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, well, how long are their cycles are going to be, and do they have a next generation X, Y, and
you know what has been Elon's saving grace and Tesla is like their ability to. I've heard him say this, where he doesn't want to do anything that isn't 10x better than the next thing. Like, why create a high-speed train that's only 100 miles an hour faster? He's like, if we're going to do that, it should be, 10 times faster than what it currently is. But I digress. He has consistently launched cars that just blow people's mind, blow people out of the water, And can he keep doing that? Can he keep creating products that are
that's a big question. We don't know about the Cybertruck yet. Everything that we've seen so far has kind of been a disappointment. We haven't heard anything about the Roadster, and we're gonna see what happens with the current lineup. They did refresh it recently, and it does look better, but it's not. The competition is getting really fierce.
That's the issue, yeah.
Yeah. So that does it. So, any closing thoughts? Final thoughts?
Nope.
All right. So thanks for watching, everybody. Let us know what you guys think. We wanted to make this episode as quick and concise as possible. Hope you guys like the new format. Definitely subscribe, comment. Let us know what you guys think. N74 concept, Civic Type R. I'm going to get one. Like, it's going to happen. I already talked to my wife about it. So, yeah, it's happening. So,